Welcome to Classical 95.9 WCRI's Conducting Conversations with your host, Mike Mano. 1 hour of music and conversation with notable people in the arts, bringing you the stories of how music has impacted their lives. The show will give a behind-the-scenes look at the guest's background, interests, or special project.
Conducting Conversations is brought to you by Roberts Musical Instruments. From sheet music and brand name instruments to rentals, repairs, lessons, and more. Roberts Musical Instruments is your key to musical success. Call 823-5459. That's 823-5459.
And now here's your host, Mike Mano.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conducting Conversations. Tonight, it's a very special pleasure to welcome back to our studio the one and only, the famous, the talented, and the good-looking Martin Piecuch is here. Welcome back, Martin.
Thank you. I was looking around to see who you were describing. Glad to be here.
I was talking about the Maestro himself. He has returned. It's been too long. It's been a few years since you've been on the air with us.
It has, and a few world
of travel and so forth,
and of disease.
Disease. We missed the whole pandemic. You were not with us, so it's been a while. But you did several shows before that, and your wife Elizabeth Falk has been here on a couple of occasions. And you, as Maestro, have a lot of things coming up this summer. Most in the very near future, you're going to be at the Lagura Center in Stonington. Martin is not only does he conduct symphony orchestras, but he is a tremendous saxophone player and other instruments too. But we'll get into all that. Let's start with a little bit of background on you. You're over 50 now.
I've been 50 many times.
Many times, and but you have traveled the world. I can't think of almost anyone with a more impressive traveling itinerary than you have played in Russia, and you play in Cuba, and you played in Asia, and all kinds of places, right?
Yes, and in Europe in general, I've been very fortunate to have a good career.
So it's a pleasure to have you here and talk about what's coming up. And I guess I mentioned the Lagura Center in Stonington. We'll be giving you specifics about that, but Martin has a concert coming up there for you that are in our listening area. That's going to be Wednesday night, August 21st at 6 o'clock, and that will be a jazz ensemble, shall we call it?
Well, not really. It's
okay.
It's going to be a saxophone quartet.
Saxophone quartet.
And
okay.
That in itself is very unusual because the saxophone, it was modestly named after its own inventor, Adolph Sax.
Okay.
And it's about 1842. When it was first developed, the saxophone was brass and conical, so that it had more power than the other woodwinds. In fact, it was not made of wood. It is not made of wood. It's made of brass.
Right. People think of a trumpet being brass, usually.
Right,
yeah.
But that would be with a buzz mouthpiece, buzzing your lips, as opposed to this, which has a reed on it, similar to the clarinet reed. So we're getting into
a 50-50.
Yeah, the early parts of it. And the very first saxophone ever built was a baritone sax, which is pretty big. It stands 4 or 5 feet off the floor.
Wow.
And 4 feet anyway. And so there's a large repertoire written for the sax quartet. And instead of calling, it's difficult to grade music, to classify music these days, because
such as jazz
or classical or
whatever.
Yeah, because
it crosses over.
It is, and it's sort of world music,
right?
And the genre, many different genres written for it, from jazz, from classical style, because literally, if it's not written in the classical period, it would be neoclassical. So instead of getting into all of these names, we're just talking about wonderful music for the saxophone quartet, which is made up of 4 different saxes. The soprano is the smaller one and plays the lead part, which is what I'm playing on here. The alto sax is the next in size. And the tenor sax is bigger, it's the first one that has a little curve in the neck. And the baritone sax is the biggest one. And in our quartet, the baritone sax is played by the most attractive one of us. Her name is Zoe Stinson.
It's hard to believe there would be someone more attractive than you.
Oh, well, you'll have to stretch your mind a little.
All right.
Kirk Edwards is the tenor player. Sam Moffat, a former student of mine, who I'm extremely proud of, is playing the alto part. And Kirk Edwards is playing tenor, Sam Moffat alto, Zoe Stinson baritone, and me on soprano.
There you go. All right, and that's going to be in the evening, Wednesday, August 22nd.
At La Grua Center.
At La Grua Center. And if you'd like to find out about the La Grua Center, it's very simple. They have a very easy website. It's called lagruacenter.org, and it's LAGRUA center.org. And on there is the phone number. The address is 32 Water Street in Stonington. So check out their website and get yourself down there on that date. Let's listen to some music, Martin, and tell us about this first piece you brought with you.
The first piece, and this is a recorded concert from a couple of years ago outdoors. Okay. And the first piece is written by Astor Piazzolla, who is the father of the modern tango from Argentina. And the tango, after he invented it and sort of cleaned it up, it was written, first played in bordellos.
Oh, okay.
My mom and dad wouldn't let me go there, so no. But we opened the Piazzolla and his tango gradually went overseas, and all through France, Italy, even in Russia, there are Russian tangos very attractive. Right. So it was a whole movement, and the piece Libertango would mean free tango. It's a charming piece, and you'll hear it. You'll hear four voices. The soprano is the high, alto is the middle, the second, and tenor is the third, and the big baritone is the fourth.
Excellent. We'll give it a listen. Well, Martin, that certainly gets us in the mood. So let's move along. And you have another piece from a live concert, right?
Yes. Of this particular segment, they're each from a live concert from 2 years ago.
Okay.
And the next piece we're going to play is Samuel Barber's. It was initially a string quartet movement, and the tempo, adagio, means slow. It evolved, Mike, as the go-to piece to play when President Kennedy was shot. And so this piece was played all over the world, any place they were paying
tribute to him.
Yes. So I get goosebumps even when I think about it.
Yeah.
But we wanted specifically, because I had earlier conducted a European tour with a mixed orchestra of the U.S. I used to conduct the Washington Symphony, the National Radio Orchestra of Ukraine, and an orchestra, and also a third of the orchestra from Zlin, Czech Republic.
Oh. Okay.
So, and what I wanted to do, because we lost so many friends. In fact, for all the tour I've conducted in Russia for over 25 years, and I don't think I will ever go back. I don't think I'll ever get to go back. I think it's too dangerous. And at any rate, we dedicated the performance of this piece to the Ukrainians. And I happen to have 2 or 3 Ukrainians at the concert also.
Wow. All right. We'll listen to that piece. Then we'll take a short break, and we'll be back with more of Martin Piecuch. Martin Piecuch is my special guest tonight on Conducting Conversations. I'm Mike Mano, and very pleased to be sitting with Martin talking about an event coming up at the Ligura Center on August 21st. That's a Wednesday night at 6 o'clock. So get out there and listen to Martin's saxophone quartet. I love the quartet part of that, at least, Martin.
You would, because of your many travails in a barbershop, I might say, because you're modest, in a prize-winning barbershop quartet.
Well, we have a lot of fun, and I've heard, believe it or not, I have heard saxophone quartets before.
Terrific.
One out of Tampa, Florida, that a good friend of mine, a singer, was in, and they called themselves Opus 4 out of Tampa, Florida. And we actually brought them up to the Providence Performing Arts Center a number of years ago. So next on the list would be get your quartet and my quartet to do something together.
That would be super.
Right.
In fact, we might talk to a composer and engage him to write a special piece for us.
Oh, well, let's see. The audience is listening to us work this out.
It's just as it's happening.
Well, let's get back to what we were doing, which was talking about your live performance a couple of years ago. And we're going to listen to...
this is the New England Saxophone Quartet.
New England Saxophone Quartet.
And this piece that we played all four movements, but right now I'd like you to hear the last two movements of the a quartet written by brothers Faustin and Maurice Jean. They were so good they named them twice.
There you go.
But these brothers wrote a wonderful quartet that is very typically descriptive of French cities themselves, towns.
Okay.
And we'll listen to the third movement, which is Papillon Scherzo. It means butterflies, and Scherzo means a joke. And I think it's a joke because they're so fast. Anyway, and the last movement is called Concert sur la place, which means in the square. And it's a fun piece to play and a fun piece to listen to.
Sounds very difficult. You'll understand why I said that.
Yeah.
Martin, you mentioned getting a composer to do something for us, but you know, there's a lot of behind-the-scenes work that goes on putting this music together, right?
Right, the music, and then you have the production, logistics, and making arrangements for attracting people.
Sure.
Just like this personal invitation we're giving to everyone right now.
Right, and who put that last one together that we just have been listening to?
Trish and Brandon Watson are wonderful friends of ours who we met in Stonington Harbor Yacht Club, and they came to the last concert and said, that was so marvelous. What can we do to help? And, you know, that's not something you want to come up and ask me, because I say, we'd love to have your help. And they have done a great job at producing this concert for us. And they're well known in Stonington.
Excellent.
And Trish. And,
it takes a village, as they say.
Right, yeah. Absolutely, especially with musicians.
All right, we're going to switch gears a little bit now. This next piece has an interesting title. It's called Sound in Body, Mind, and Spirit. Tell us about this. Yes,
this is a piece in anticipation of my going to Europe in September to Bulgaria to conduct some concerts. And Jonathan Bruce Brown is the American composer of this piece, and he writes beautiful music. That particular one, Sound in Body, Mind, and Spirit, was written and dedicated to the health communities of the country.
Wow. Okay.
And it's a magnificent piece of his writing with lots of brass fanfare. And when I think sound in body, mind, and spirit, there's even a play on the word sound being important and smart.
Right.
But also for the wonderful
sound that you're going to hear.
Yes. So it's Sound in Body, Mind, and Spirit by Jonathan Bruce Brown.
We will listen to that, then take a short break and be back with more. Maestro Martin Piecuch is my special guest on Conducting Conversations tonight. I'm Mike Mano, and pleased to be sitting with Martin talking about the event coming up very soon on August 21st, Wednesday night, at the Lagura Center in Stonington. It'll be a 6 o'clock summer evening performance. Very, very nice situation. And Martin will be there with his saxophone quartet, as we've been talking about. Martin, I want to thank you so much for coming in. I know we have one rather lengthy piece of music to play as we go out, but I just wanted to thank you personally for coming back, and we can't make it so long next time.
Okay, it's my pleasure, and it's great. I listen to you all the time when I can't talk to you personally, so it's great to be back.
Well, great. Tell us about this last piece of music we're going to hear.
Okay, the last piece is a piece of music that I'll be conducting in Piecuch, Bulgaria.
Oh, I know it well.
Do you? Yes. And the concert will be in mid-September.
Okay.
And if anybody wants to go there with us, you can get in touch with me, and I'll tell them the directions. Give them directions.
You're not going to give them a free ride.
No. I'd like to get one myself.
Yeah, there you go.
But we're also, when we go there, we're going to meet in Stara Zagora, which means old, like Old Town.
Okay.
In Bulgarian. And that's strange because the Bulgarian language uses the Cyrillic language and the Cyrillic alphabet, I mean. So I speak Russian, and I can read the Russian, and I understand it. I can read the Bulgarian because I can read those letters and characters, but I have no idea what the words mean because they're different. But anyway, we're supposed to go back next spring and do a wonderful one-act opera called The Lighthouse by Peter Maxwell Davies, a British composer.
Okay.
And looking forward to that. And right now, one of my favorite composers, anyway, is Dvorak. And I'll be doing his 8th Symphony, which is such a beautiful work. But we only have time right now, probably, for the third movement of it, which we will play. And that third movement is called the Allegro Grazioso, and it's in a waltz.
Excellent.
Feeling.
Once again, thanks, Martin. A pleasure to see you.
My pleasure. Thank
All
you.
right. And the rest of you, we'll see you next time on Conducting Conversations. Conducting Conversations was brought to you by Roberts Musical Instruments, using music and the arts to keep your child educated, entertained, and having fun. Roberts Musical Instruments is your key to musical success. Call 823-5459. That's 823-5459.